think that we're good. All right. Hello, and welcome to the stream. For anyone who's watching not live, welcome. Today we are going to be working on creature designs for When It Rains, my story that I've been working on for the past year. It's about the puddles that turn into portals. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if I need to summarize anything else for that. For this story, we need a lot of creature designs for my characters to interact with. So, that will be the point designing these creatures. I'm not sure if all of these will end up making an appearance, but we can at least play around and figure out some ideas. So, let's get started. Oh, welcome! By the way, Perry, I've been looking through all of your animacs. You have so many of them. I love them all. They're very great. Hello! Yeah, so I guess we'll just get right into it. So I'm gonna be using a method of where we carve. Yes, there shall be horns and antlers and other stuff. I picked up some books from the library today on different kinds of like different kinds of mammals and whatnot. Haven't read through all of the books yet, but I have. I have some books to reference later. But for now, we're just going to be doing a lot of shape carving, I guess is how I'd characterize it. It's essentially where you like make a shape and then you it's kind of like sculpting. Yeah, so we're going to be doing that. Mostly on my iPad though, so now I need to maybe find a brush that I would like to use for this. I don't think I have a lot of brushes. Like a lot of brushes. I don't think I've even tested them all out. So we might just use, yeah, we'll just continue on with the, it's fine, we'll just continue with the default brushes. I was hoping to find a flat one, but I'll have to look for that later. Blocking it, yes. Gonna essentially make shapes, make creatures from them. I'm not sure what I'll end up with, but I figured this would be a good way to get some interesting creature designs without overly relying on references. I will eventually grab references, because those are important. But sometimes in the concept art phase, you need to just play around to see what kind of things you get. Though, once I'm done like messing around with, I think I might need to think about some of the environments that these creatures are going to be interacting in. Feel free. I mean, I can't claim this topic. Feel free to draw whatever creatures you want. I I was just simply wanting to do some concept work for my story. If you need me to re-explain the story of When It Rains, that is completely fine. I love talking about it. One of the important things I think will be knowing what kind of environment these creatures are going to be living in. And I have 3 environments so far planned out for this story. There's a like kind of rocky rolly area that used to have a bunch of like waterways running through it, so they have a bunch of rocks with like holes punched through them, and it's like, I'm calling it like rocky rolly hills kind of vibes. And then I will have like essentially it's a flooded water plains area with a lot of small streams and willow trees that hang out there. And then I have general ocean beach kind of area. Oh, and the last one that I think is super fun is essentially a twisted forest. Let me grab the exact definition of this. I like wrote it out. Uh, Windy, curvy trees that interlace with each other. Essentially, trees that are competing so much for light that they like intertwine with each other and leave barely any light for the undergrowth. So a lot of the undergrowth will have really big flat leaves, and the leaves might actually be a different color. I'm trying to remember if those kind of leaves are usually red. Anyway, those kind of environments, so we'll probably try and design some creatures around that. Because of what I want to do with this idea is looking at North America and the ecosystem and see what I believe what creatures we're missing, either to improve or dominate the ecosystem. That could be interesting. You'll definitely have to look at some of the original creatures that we still have around, like bison. I'm trying to remember if dodo birds were I think those were an American thing. Pretty sure. Those tasty, tasty birds that did not know how to run. Those poor things. Yeah, since I want these guys to be interacting with an environment, I think I'll have to design them with an environment in mind, or else they're not going to really interlace well with it. Australia. Well, now I'm confused. Now I need to look it up. Where did dodo birds originate? Dodo birds. And where do they live? Madagascar. Near Madagascar. Okay. That makes more sense. That would make more sense why they don't have like any danger sense, because if they're located on an island, then it just happens that they don't have a lot of predators. So that means they didn't have a lot of danger sense. Which would explain why they didn't run when people were hunting them. That explains a lot. Yeah, so. Get some little guys. I was messing around with this idea earlier. I think I was using it in the sense for character design too. I don't know, I got some silly results from it. Sometimes if I'm stuck on a character design, or like I want to create something really different, I will form it out of physical clay. Well, have fun at Walmart. I was glad you were able to catch a little bit of it. I'm glad you got to know that I was very interested in your content, so have a fun time. Alright, so for this guy, I'm thinking he'll be designed for the rolling rocks. And if that is the case, he probably needs to be a really good jumper. So jumper means strong legs, which means his legs need to be longer. Look at jumping mice. at some point for an inspiration on him. For now, we'll just keep up with this. We'll just focus on the silhouette for the most part and go from there. So how has everyone's day been? I hope it's been going well. Mine has been pretty good. I started last week, but I've been doing some significant work on my crows for Comic-Con. I have 7 of them so far, and I accidentally sewed one of them in half. How do I explain that? I essentially used, wrong side. One half of the crow is not sewn exactly correctly. You can't tell too much, and I'm gonna do like a little bit of extra sewing on top to make sure that it's still fine. And he's still soft, which is good. Because I don't know how I'd go about tearing out all of that stitching, because I essentially sewed the entire thing before realizing that I made a mistake. Which means now I need to cut out more crow pieces before I can sew the 8th crow that I had cut out. Because I don't want, now the faces that I have left, they don't match, and I don't wanna sew them without, I want to do it properly, so I need to cut out more so that they match. Okay, this guy, I'm thinking he would also need a small, long snout so that he can sniff in between rocks and catch things that fall behind the cracks. His front legs would also probably be pretty skinny too. That way, if he needed to skinny fold it together, or maybe he can spread them out too for climbing on rocks, just in case he needs a little bit more purchase. Let's lock that layer so I don't accidentally draw on top of it. Now for mouse eyes, I think they're usually pretty big, which would really fit my MO, because I really I enjoy drawing a big eye. Those are fun. Look up mice real fast. I think their eyes are proportional to their head. Let me look up jumping mice real quick. Jumping mice. Oh, their tail is really long. That might be something important to know. I assume that has something to do with balance. But I don't know why. That's interesting though. His tail is super long. Jumping mice are really cute. Okay, so I'm thinking this little guy's pretty good, but we're gonna make this a touch bit smaller so I can make the tail a little bit longer. It might end up looking a little bit similar to gerbils. You know, sometimes I worry if the idea that I'm working on is gonna, like, be too nerdy, but then I think about Gravity Falls, and that was a very... They discussed cryptology and had codes and a dedicated fan base who was, like, absolutely obsessed with figuring everything out. So I think it's okay if I just treat the show how I want to, and then it'll just be something I enjoy, because, well, if I didn't enjoy doing this, I wouldn't be making it this way. That'll probably be fine. I think this tail needs to be even longer. Let's just completely erase that. And just redraw the tail again. Glad I already started thinking about some of the environments I want these guys to be living in. Because if I didn't think about that, I might be having a harder time coming up with concrete designs that would actually fit in the world and not just... Like, I could just make random creature designs. But to get them to actually fit in with what I want, important to note where they come from. The vibes of this are kind of like... Have you ever heard of that, what's it called exactly? It's an anime where, they imagine how they would, like... They essentially describe why animals have the features they have. And they break down an animal by essentially redesigning them backwards, but you see it chronologically to get to the final. And I'm not describing this very well. Let me look it up. Animal design anime. Heaven's Design Team. There we go. That's what it's called. I enjoy that show a lot, actually. So, I don't know. This feels like it has similar vibes. Alright, now that the tail is a bit longer, we can do some outlining to get some of the details in. Bit too dark. Big ears so he can hear across the universe. Hair. Out. Probably need a lot of whiskers. gonna be a cutie, I can just tell. It's like a little rat. This is essentially what he is. He's just a little rat. Draw different iterations of him at points so I can get him at his best. I think he'll have thin legs, but his toes will be able to spread a little bit so they can grip the rock better. Sure, this guy is looking the most unique, but now that I have this, I can combine the two of them and we can create a design based on that. So we'll make this guy smaller. And go from there. I liked the long head. Hello, welcome to the stream. We are designing creatures for my story When It Rains. Right now we're working on a mouse-like creature. Want it to do some extra push some of the shapes more. Because while I like how he looks, he does not look the most unique. So I want it to play around to see what other shapes I could get. I might be working a bit too big. What if I just have him... That might be a bit too much. In the air, but in the air. Will be like a little kangaroo. Maybe. I don't know if that's the exact correct comparison for him. But it's a comparison. He looks so silly. There a point to having a crick in his nose, besides looking slightly interesting. I think if I want the front legs to be like that, I need to push the back ones forward a bit. That could potentially work. What region is it located in? We're working in an alternate form of Maine. So it has similar environments to Maine, but then also because it's not exactly Maine, I have some things that I'm playing around with. Like, for example, I have a twisty tree forest, which tries its best to compete for light and block out as much of the surroundings as it possibly can. So I have a lot of plants that are big leafed and probably work on a slightly different light spectrum than normal plants. Because I'm pretty sure that's how you end up with red leaves. I would need to search it up to confirm, but I'm pretty sure that low-level situations usually result in different colored leaves. I'm working on a cardboard dragon puppet right now, but I have no idea where my paint is. Oh, that's not helpful. It probably doesn't help if you end up moving your supplies around a lot. I usually keep mine in one place, mostly because I don't know where else I would put it, so I don't usually have that issue, but I feel for you. Sometimes I set things down and I don't know where I place them, so then I end up like just running around searching for where I could have possibly left it. I did that just recently. Over the weekend I was visiting a new friend because we were prepping for a D&D session. And I set my phone down and I had no idea where it went. So I ended up searching for just a good couple. It wasn't terribly long, but longer than it should have taken to find my phone. Sometimes they just disappear. But I believe in you. I know you can find it. I hope you can find it anyway. There's nothing worse than having some random thing. Dumb cane plants. Cane's plants? What is that? Dumb canes. That is not how you spell. Oh, those are pretty. Known as leopard, dumb cane, or leopard leaf. Genius of tropical flower. That's interesting, but I think the tropical nature of it might not work for the current environment that we are in. Though I do like the idea. I appreciate the thought towards it. Were you thinking like leaf structure wise? Because that might be the general idea with like how large the leaves could get. This guy's looking funky. Trying to decide if his head's gonna end up being like. Because I could end the head here and have him just be ridiculous, but I think I'm gonna push it so that the head is a bit bigger. Because it is a mouse, so if I make the head look if I make the head look smaller, he's gonna look bigger. Just to make the ears bigger. I'm liking that he's looking different because he looks less like a rat and more like a type of mouse. And the fun thing is, I don't think we need to actually delete all of the designs if I'm feeling a little bit antsy on something else. Could always move on to a different idea and come back to it. Wonder how many creatures I'm gonna be needing to make for this. Enough to... I want some distinct ones, and they are gonna be the focus of things. That's very descriptive. Things. Focus of episodes? I keep forgetting that Photoshop changed around their keybinds, so I don't want to press shift if I want it to stay the same. That's looking fun. Alright. I think I'll just let that sit for a bit. Maybe come up with a couple other designs later, and we'll move on to a different creature. Hold on, I did not press the right button. New group from layers. Mouse. And something else. Okay. I think I'll just make a random shape and we can go from there. Platypus are really just strange creatures. Right before stream, I had been reading about the different mammals. And one chapter was dedicated towards platypi just because they're so weird. They're so weird. I wonder they thought when they were first discovered it was just a practical joke played by a taxidermist. It's understandable considering how weird they look. Trying to remember if Dan Povenmire mentioned how he got to his color scheme for Perry. I want to say it's because it was just eye-catching, but I could be wrong. I don't know what I'm doing with this shape. I don't know if I'm feeling anything from that. Let's try a different one. I'm just gonna doodle a bunch of random shapes. See if any ideas come from that. I kind of like that shape. Let's go with that one. He's spiky, and I like that. We'll go from there. Creature. He kind of looks like a hand. I'm not sure if I want him to look like a hand. This could be a sea creature. I do enjoy a good sea creature. Maybe this could be a fish design? I guess I would need a reason for his general shape to be like this. Kinda reminds me of a lionfish. It won't be. Because lionfish are jerks. Trying to think of what about the environment would encourage the fish to look like this. If this is a defense tactic or a I guess camouflage tactic would be similar. Would be similar to a defense tactic, but it's slightly different. One's more on the offensive and one's defensive. That one's also... We'll separate them out a bit. I'm thinking spine here, another set of like round tail spines there. His little front fins. Oh, I could have little... You know how sometimes they have those guiding fins on the bottom? Could add those. My sibling would probably look at this fish and go, he doesn't make sense. Why does he look like this? That might actually be a good idea. Have them look at my fish and go, why is he designed that way? Like that. Alyssa, why did you make him do this? He's in pain. Why did you do this? I still have not found the paint, but my friend really wanted me to make the puppet called Bob, the family destroyer, so that's what I'm making. The concept art is looking super cool though. I'm glad you're enjoying the concept art. What is the puppet made out of? Is it a paper bag? Is it fabric based? What is this? I need to know the details. How is this puppet designed? Oh, he has such a cute face. I love him. An atomically incorrect fish and all. I love him so much. Random box I found in glue. What have you done to the fish? I gave him an eye! It's so good! I love him so much. I was like trying to think of what other materials you could use to color your puppet. You could probably use markers, but that'd definitely be influenced by the color of the box, which I assume is brown, because most boxes are brown. But you could surprise me. It could be a green box. Sometimes that happens. You know, sometimes you can't make perfection on the first try, but he's pretty darn close. I love him a lot. He doesn't make much sense, but I love him a lot. Oh yeah, and you definitely don't want to use your fancy alcohol markers on the cardboard box. I understand. I wish you luck on finding the paint. I think I went to high school with you. Interesting. Probably don't want to discuss that here, because don't need to be discussing high schools here. That would be certainly interesting. The fish is kind of sad. He's spiky and sad, and I love that about him. He's just a little guy. I feel like this fish specifically, this specimen right near here needs a name. I'm getting Fred vibes, but if you guys have any other ideas. I just needed a stupid name for a stupid fish. Are you? I'm gonna sketch the top hat, and I'm gonna give the puppet. I'm gonna give the puppet because I want to art. Fair enough. Fair enough. Give him little scales. Wow. He's so beautiful. I am way too happy with this fish. This fish should not be making me nearly as happy as it currently is. Fred, fantastic. I'm glad you agree. Definitely gonna be sending this to my sibling later to be like, what do you think of my fish? Isn't he great? His name's Fred. Fred the fish. he's so he's a little lumpy, but he's got this. Amazing. Perfect. 10 out of 10. I cannot make him better. Let's move on to the next little guy. I guess we'll just do the same tactic again of just doodling a bunch of random shapes until something clicks. That could be interesting. I have to be careful. There's a fine line between a creature that could exist and a creature that is just a Pokemon in disguise. There's a fine line. Definitely trying to hit creature. This one's giving me lion-esque vibes. Plus otter, which is kind of what I wanted. In terms of like otter as in like sea creatures that realistically exist somewhere in Maine. This might not be the best silhouette to show them off, but I like the posing, so we're gonna keep with it. Did you know otters will like groom their babies so much that they become so fluffy that they just don't float? I mean, do float. They do float. Just make them so fluffy that they float. Oh, is my Discord? Let me check my Discord. It might. Let me check that real quick. And we can check that. Okay. I'm trying to remember how you actually invite people. Invite people. Intriguing. I wonder if there's a way to Here is a temporary link. That was not it. Okay. I'm not concerned about it at the moment. I'm just gonna keep drawing. I will add it later. I'm just gonna continue working on the drawing. That is what I'm most concerned about. I'm not sure exactly. I think it's stuck in streamer mode, so it might not be giving me the invite code at the moment because it doesn't want me to accidentally give away details that I might not necessarily want to give away. So we'll be concerned about that later. I watched a video the other day of the main difference between river otters and ocean otters. Ocean otters are much bigger, fluffier, apparently more friendly. I didn't realize river otters were something to be feared. But evidently, they are slightly scary. He has like a little mohawk. It's that's silly. His big paws. He is definitely floating, though I'm not sure what evolutionary advantage there would be to have a bunch of fur on the top of your head. Might need to play around with his design some more, make it make more sense. Might need to play around with the positioning of him too, because this silhouette of him is not helping with understanding how his anatomy actually goes. Right, so something River Lake, maybe could be interesting having a mixture between an otter and a beaver-like figure, like perhaps the otters, they They build kelp nests that span miles. They'd probably have some decent sized teeth if that was the case. What if they were so fluffy that they could like trap air on their fur? And they could just keep the babies underwater in the kelp nests by trapping air in their fur and then and that's how they would. That could give an explanation on why they have so much frickin' fur. Though, that wouldn't make too much sense in the sense. If you keep them underwater, you have to keep them well attended. If you have a bunch of air stuck in your fur, you wouldn't be able to dive very well. Let's doodle on top of this, see what I get. Their ears are actually too visible, now that I'm thinking about it. He's looking particularly beaver-like, but I think it's the teeth. Beaver, yeah, I think it's mostly just the teeth. The nose, I'm trying to remember how the nose looks. I think it's mostly flat. I think that's something you would want as a diving animal, is just a flat nose. That way water doesn't rush up it. I am drawing on all of my knowledge of animal documentaries, trying to remember why they were given these specific traits and how they survive. This is why I grabbed library books. Not that I'm gonna read on stream, because I don't think that would be particularly interesting for anyone. If I do another creature stream, I'll probably read a bit more beforehand. That way, it's at the front of my brain on why they have specific traits. Let me look up otters just to get an idea of what their face looks like. Okay, they do have... They do have like a... They're just so cute! Why are they so cute? Maybe I'll just straight up have otters. Because they already did such a great job at designing themselves. Who am I to say that I could do better? It would be highly presumptuous of me to assume that I could design an otter that is superior to the already designed otter. Shape carving. Back to the shape carving. That was line drawing. We want to do shapes. Big paws. Fluffy coat. If you got a blip there, OBS decided to disconnect and then reconnect. I'm not sure why. I do hope it has nothing to do with my Wi-Fi, because I can't do anything about that to fix it. Oh, what if it's the snow? That could be a reason for my Wi-Fi being weird. If you suddenly lose me for no good reason, it's probably because the snow started snowing harder. But I'm pretty sure it's pretty tame right now. It's been snowing since 3. It hasn't been overly heavy. Why? Have you found your paint yet? Is it mysteriously turned up? I guess not mysteriously. Has it miraculously turned up? That's the word I was looking for. Be oh so nice if it did. Because then you could paint your puppet. That's pretty cute. That's a pretty cute face right there. Oh. Forgot today was Wednesday. Snow days don't feel like real days. That is very true. I had a very weird week with my job because I had a lot of free days off. I was supposed to be training. I definitely feel that. Oh, that is a really cute face. I really enjoy that face. That's a good face right there. Is a lot of fluff and not a lot of form. But I enjoy that about him. Fluff is good. Fluff means you're floating. In the definitely need to give him different behaviors than otters, because while I have loosely based him on the design of otters, I don't want to have all of his behaviors be of otters, because then what's the point? I should have, if I was gonna do that, I might as well just use otters themselves. But I do like that one. So I'll just mark him golden and move on to the next idea. So we got Fred the fish. It's otter-like creature, a lion of the ocean, and this little jumping mouse. Pretty good collection. Since my general idea of just squiggling seems to have worked with me so far, we'll just do that again. This feels like another type of fish. Kinda similar to a sea dragon. He's kinda cute. I could do something with that. Little horns. Leaf-like appendages. Little fins. Oh yeah. He's cute. He's a cutie. I could give him little spots. He's kind of like a little giraffe. I don't know. Maybe I just need to keep making sea creatures, because all of the sea creatures just make me so happy. Just look at him. He's just there. He's so happy to be here. He can blend in with the kelp and the other random things. Oh my gosh, he's such a good little guy. Maybe I just need to sit down more often and make little guys, because It's a pretty good little guy, if I do say so myself. The sea creatures just make me way too happy. Maybe I'll just make a whole bunch of sea creatures. Alright, what's the next little shape? What are we doing now? Maybe a more fat fish. Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that. That's a good fish head right there. Nice. Excellent. We like that in a fish. I don't even know what kind of environments these fish are living in. All I know is I like drawing them. They have funky little shapes. I like that about him. At one point, I could remember the different speeds. Different fish have different tails for different swimming reasons. Definitely gonna have to show my sibling later so they can categorize the fish and be like, yeah, that fish makes sense. Or that one's a little messed up. Do them differently, Alyssa. Good fish. Excellent fish. Other kind of fish could we make? Weird baubles? Anyone have any opinions on what kind of fish I could make? Oh, wait, what if I made him have really big eyes? For no reason. Just give him some big eyes. This is gonna be a messed up fish. He's not gonna look right. I like a baby hammerhead shark, but something's not right about him. Oh, that's a good sea creature. What would the evolutionary advantage of having eyes that protrude so much? I should probably smooth out. The line a bit, so he's a little bit more aerodynamic? Water dynamic? Having some mobility in the water? He's a very visual fish. He looks for all of his prey and predators alike, using his big eyes. His eyes remind me of a goldfish. I think he looks too sensible. I think I need to move his eyes a bit. You know, to just give him that air of being a fish. He has too many thoughts in his brain currently, and I need to fix that. We go. Less thoughts. Less thoughts. Accidentally unplugged my headphones. Love it when that happens. Alright, to summarize, we have this little mouse creature, Fred the fish, another somewhat mammalian ocean creature-like thing, and some wiggly fish. Well, I could design a crab. Could come up with a crab design, because crabs have evolved like 8 separate times, just by themselves. No outside influence. So we could make yet another crab type. Actually, it's just they're just the superior form. So I just need to make the 9th crab type. I am thinking about it though, I'm like, those crabs have to look different. Because if they're not related to each other, and their main thing is they just walk around on 8 legs, that has to mean they look different, right? I think it would be really funny if there was an episode that just focused on yet another crab. Like, where, how, why? Why is this the final greatest form an animal could have? I do not know. But yet, there's another crab. Hello! Welcome! We are designing creatures. The creature of the hour, or Last 10 minutes, we're making another crab. Not sure how he's gonna look. But we need another crab in our lives. I think if we're designing an alternate world and there just needs to be another crab. So my story, When It Rains, part of the draw is that there's a whole bunch of creatures in it because when it rains, puddles every 100 years ago, when it rains, puddles turn into portals and creatures emerge from them. And for my story about puddles and creatures, I need puddles and creatures. Or, well, I have the puddles, I just need the creatures. So, that is currently what we're doing. We're designing creatures for my story. Now, I'm not sure if I'll use all of these, but I'm certainly having a fun time. I might need to look up a reference picture of a crab. Maybe. Big of a difference is there between crabs and spiders? It can't be that big, right? Right? Crab. Okay, so their little arms do not count with their legs. Okay, good to know. Good to know. I searched up crab, and way too many of these crab are cooked. So many of them were boiled and buttered. I just searched up crab. I didn't specify. I guess that's my fault. How long have you been working on this story for? Over a year now. I started it. I want to say either it's. I think it was my senior year of college. I would have to back check my files though. So probably about a year and a half. Essentially, this story is about a girl named Lena. She very desperately wants to grow up. She wants to have adult responsibilities and want a job and like she wants to be treated like an adult. She doesn't know exactly what all of this entails, but she knows that adults get listened to and she wants people to listen to her. So she figures the way to get people to listen to her and to listen to her ideas is by essentially just having adult responsibilities, like having a job. So she tries to work with the local zoologist who is working on their PhD program and is like, hey, can I work with you? Payson was like, no, I do not want to work with you, tiny child. Why are you here? I am very busy. Please go away. But Lena got nepotismed into essentially being an intern or assistant to Payson. So then Payson just had to deal with the child following them around and helping them with their experiments. And this thesis that they're working on, they thought was going to be purely theoretical based on the nature of the puddles and the fact that they only appear once every 100 years. But then they were oh so lucky that it happened right when they were working on their thesis. So now they're running around going crazy trying to gather as much evidence and data as much as possible before it ends again. Because it's only supposed to last a day, and yet for some odd reason the puddles have stayed and the creatures still remain. And now they have so much more extra time than they thought they did to put together more data. So there's gonna be a slight episodic nature to this story, because ideally I'd want this to be a show where they're going around studying the different creatures and then trying to fix the problem that these creatures are causing on the local environment. Yeah. I'm glad you're enjoying the story and think it's cool. I've been having a lot of fun writing it and coming up with things. There's certain bits where I'm a little bit lost on where to continue. Like, one of the characters, I have a lot of reading to do on her culture to make sure that it is the way that I want it to be. Or at least I'm doing it correctly, because I don't want to add a culture that's not my own and not do it properly, because that would just be rude. And would be worse than not adding them in at all. But I think they're very important for the story. Hence the research. It's a lot of research to do. Probably need to talk to a member of the community at some point so I can better represent them. I was also thinking maybe one of the reasons why I'm stuck on the people who live on the other side of the portal is because I don't have the environment designed. If I have the environment designed, then I can design how the people reacted to the environment being there. And that would then I would have a better idea of how that influences how they interact. So I think that's a vague way that cultures end up being formed, is just how they ended up reacting to the environment that they live in. I got a book on anthropology, so I can... I don't know if it'll help or not with the study of cultures, but it'll certainly be interesting. I think I need some claws on this guy. Up in the air. Like he just doesn't care. I think I just need to continue with the philosophy of drawing creatures that make me laugh or grin. Because I think those will be the most fun creatures to then write a little story for. The kiddos will forcibly learn that crabs have evolved separately several times. Just be a story plot. That's a good crab. I don't. He has the vibes of a crab. He might not be completely atomically correct crab, but he has the vibes of a crab. And he makes me happy, so that's all that's important about him. I think I'll do one more crab design and then another creature design, and then I think I'll call it for the night. Because I am slightly tired. I do not know why, but I am slightly tired. So, do one more crab and one more creature, and then I think we'll call it good for the night. I think we've made good progress on exploring some of the different I just like was abruptly thinking about hermit crabs. I completely lost my train of thought because I was thinking about crabs. That's probably completely normal, right? Just like losing your train of thought because crabs. I'm sure that's happened to so many people. They were just very thought provoking. What if he had spikes? Why not? What if the hermit crab was big? Giant crab, big crab. He looks small, but he grew his own shell. So he could be as big as he wants. He could be like a lobster. He grows his own shell slowly over time instead of acquiring them or borrowing them from other critters. So then you could have just giant, supersized hermit crabs. With lobster on the brain, I'm just thinking. Maybe instead of being like an actual. Maybe it's like a calcium buildup. So it looks like a shell, and it is kind of shell-like, but it's not nearly it's not exactly the same as seashells. It like a cohabitation with barnacles. It just keeps building up and up. And he drags himself around with his arms. Fun. How many guys do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? 9 guys? We'll make it a nice. We'll do something. It'll either be 10 or 12. we focus on for this one? Maybe a type of bird? I haven't done any birds yet. It'd probably need to be something with a long beak and a long neck. There's some birds who make like an umbrella with their wings, and some birds that like attack with their claws. End up drawing a blue heron. I guess it's okay if some of them resemble actual creatures that exist in real life, because then I can tie it into them being like slightly different variants. Which would help lead into Payson's theory on creatures invasive. I'm trying to think of the name for when creatures are like similar, but they're also, I guess it's kind of like the Galapagos Islands, where the creatures are technically a similar species, but they broke off at one point due to some sort of isolating factor, and this is just a slightly more extreme isolating factor where they don't interact very often. Move the eye back a bit, so I can make the beak longer. And then we can go from there. It was kind of reminding me of one of the assignments I worked on. Swirly birds. Those were silly guys. They had big eyes and swirly limbs. I would say that's a pretty fun bird. We'll do lots more, because I'm enjoying drawing the birds. Local little songbird who's fat. Oh. He's so good. Just give him a little mask and a bib. He can be like my favorite birds. He can be kind of like a chickadee without being a chickadee. He can just have little feathers on the top of his head. Good little bird. Nice. And one more little bird. Though he doesn't have to be little. But we'll do one more. I'm designing a duck. He came together so well. Just a nice little ducky guy. And then yeah, duck. I'm trying to remember the name of my favorite duck. I saw it when I went over to the zoo. They were called geese, even though they were definitely ducks, because they had the look of ducks and not geese. I think they were from Africa. And they had green all over them. They were pretty stinking cute. Why can't I remember the name of them? This is gonna bug me unless I remember the name. Ducks that are mean and from Africa. It might be a little bit. I might have to look him up later. He is not easy to find. We'll just continue on with this duck. he can be like a peacock-like duck, but with just flashy feathers, and not the big plumage. Good birds, good birds. All right, we'll save this to my When It Rains folder. And I think that's it for the creature designs today. I had a lovely time doing these. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me do them. Just to recap, we have the first little guy we did, a little jumper mouse, a messed up fish, an otter beaver-like creature, some more fish because I was really vibing with the fish, some crabs, and some birds. These are obviously not going to be the complete forms of the animals, but something as an exploration of them. So we'll do some more work on these either next week, or might have them sit for a while, or I might do some work on them and just show them off later. But general ideas of the creatures, and we can play around with more next time. So I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, whatever you plan on doing, and I don't know, just have a good rest of your day. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.